Oh, yeah. Vinnie Tortorich, folks, your good intentions have been stolen. But don't worry. I'm here to help you get them back. You may be soft and succulent when we start this process, but hang in there. Before long, you will be lean and mean, guaranteed, just like the woman on the other mic. Yeah, when she's not doing this, she's making sauces. I call them gravies, and she's always making powder for your steak. Yeah, Anna, you might not be able to hear that music. Were you able to pick up on what that was?
I heard something about backstabbers. I'm looking to see if I have a light in my bag. I'm on the road.
Yeah. Why do you need a light?
I need a for my fucking face, bro.
What's wrong with your face, broski?
Yeah, I think you know. I think you can tell. Hold on.
Yeah, the OJ's backstabbers.
The OJ's. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how songs pop into my
That's
head,
better.
But, sometimes I feel like even though it's nothing personal to me or anyone else, everyone's just out there trying to earn a living. And yesterday, I have a friend. We have a friend, and she's not exactly broke, right? She's got some money. And Serena called her to go have some coffee or something. She's like, I can't. I'm getting an infusion right now. I'm busy, infusion. What kind of infusion? Oh, they're infusing me. And that's become a new thing, all of these infusion centers. Are you familiar with this, Anna? Are they doing this in your neighborhood yet?
The IVs?
Yeah, the IVs. People are getting, here's my deal. First, I'm going to say this. If these things were around when I was playing high school and college football, I would have been there between every practice on 2 days. Because the one thing you're trying to do from the time you leave the field in the morning until the time you hit the field again in the afternoon is trying to get enough liquid in you. Because, look, I mean, that Louisiana heat, well over 100 degrees, 100% humidity, and we were done after that morning practice. It was everything you can do to just keep soaking, just get waterlogged as much as you can before. It would have been great for stuff like that. As a matter of fact, guys who got sunstroke or heat stroke or dehydrated, that's exactly what they would do. They would stick an IV in them and pump them back up, get them back on the field that afternoon. But it wasn't, it was expensive. Now people are just going out because they got drunk the night before. Here's the thing, folks. If you're going out and getting drunk and you need an IV, you need to start reconsidering your life. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not saying anything else. But if you feel like you need to go take an IV and people used to work out in the field like crazy. I mean, my whole family worked out in the field in Louisiana, 12 hours a day, no air conditioning. And when they got home, they didn't have air conditioning. They didn't. I'm not making this up. The first house that my great-grandfather, Charlie Tortorich, had, Vincenzo Charlie Tortorich, he had 12 kids. He and his wife, no, I'm sorry, I'm exaggerating, 11. 11 kids, same wife, same husband. They started off in a slave quarter, just a defunct slave quarter. And none of them went to school. My grandparents, they couldn't go to school, they couldn't afford. They all worked all day, every day. They got home, they didn't have air conditioning. They didn't have a fan. Before they tore that slave quarter down, we took a lot of pictures of it. My father has an oil painting of it up. That's where my family started in Louisiana. That wasn't that long ago, okay? And since we're talking about slave quarters, guess who was in there before the Tortoriches? Actual slaves up until 1865. That's, the Civil War didn't end in 1865, but it was around that time when it started. The bottom line is all of those people worked all day and all night. Guess what they didn't have, folks? They didn't have IVs. They had meat, they had food, and they had water. That's it. That's all they had. They had food and they had water. And guess what? Nobody died. Well, some people died. I shouldn't say that. People died. But these people,
eventually, yes.
It shows you what the human body can just withstand. I was telling this to Serena this morning. I said, when I first got to, the way I started, I said, we were talking about the heat, and I was saying, we used to do 2-a-days down in this, and I explained what 2-a-days was in full pads and the whole thing. And anyone who ever played football anywhere, they know what I'm talking about. But man, if you played in the Deep South, you had it coming at you. You had that heat. It was oppressive. It was just down on you. And she goes, they must have given you guys a ton of water. I said, no. Back in my day, if they gave you water and you accepted it, you were a pussy. You were just a big old pussy. It was like not.
Poor thing.
It was, if you took water, forget about the starting lineup. We didn't even take water breaks. And I said, by the way, every year, every 2 a day, every August, you would hear of a couple of deaths. And she goes, oh, okay, you're exaggerating now. I said, no. She goes, so 1 year, 2 kids. I went, no. Every year you would hear about a couple of deaths. And that was only the Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Maybe we heard about one in Mississippi. Maybe we heard about one over in Texas. Maybe we heard about something like that. But I'm telling you, all through the South, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, Georgia, those deep southern states, there were deaths every year. And she goes, I just can't believe that. I don't believe that happened. I said, okay, hang on. I got my younger brother on the phone, Mark. I said, Mark, how often did you hear about football players dropping dead in August practice? And without hesitation, I didn't give him any other buildup. Serena's sitting in the car with me. He goes, couple, 2 or 3 a year you'd hear about every year. I said, every year? Yeah, every year. I hung up. I called my other brother, Frankie. I said, Frankie, August practice, football, death. Oh, 2 or 3 every year you'd hear about, 2 or 3. Can you imagine that today? Can you imagine? They stop and give these kids water breaks during games. They have wellness heat break, which is all good. I'm all for it. I'm not talking against it. I'm talking about what the human body can go through. Right? What these kids were going through, what we went through, right? Now people go out and drink. Oh, I gotta go get an IV because I drank. How about you don't fucking drink so much? How about that? You ever consider that? People go, well, wait, hang on, Vinny. You said, NSNG. I can have alcohol. You drink alcohol. Yeah, but guess what? I drink like 1. Anna, you've been with me at a party. How many drinks do I have?
1.
The 1. Why? Because alcohol by definition is poison to your body. Just know that. I'm not telling you never drink. I'm not telling you never to be social. I'm not telling you any of that. But alcohol, even the ones that I drink, like the bourbon, the scotch, I don't like vodka, but people have the vodka, this sort of thing. The distilled liquors, they don't really raise your blood sugar, right? It doesn't cause much of an insulin response, especially if you have a small amount, especially if you don't put any mixer in them. But it is poison. You understand that. You have to know that. I talk a lot. It's like, look, I want people to live normally. There's alcohol in the world. If you're not an alcoholic, enjoy. Drink the live long day. I don't care. But you got to know you're taking in poison. And since we're talking about it, if you're new to NSNG, wine has a lot of sugar. Anything that's fermented and not distilled is going to have a lot of sugar. Beer is like drinking liquid bread. You want to stay away from those things. You want to take it easy on those things. They're not going to be good for you. So there you have it. And I didn't mean to go into this diatribe, but there we go. There we go.
I tried an infusion one time a couple of years ago, and I don't think it did anything. So I am of the mindset of if you overdo it, you have to take your licks the next day. You know what I mean? That's part of the learning process to go, oh, well, maybe we shouldn't do that.
No,
I don't know. But then again, the infusion, I don't feel like it worked. So maybe I'm missing something. I'd rather just take a couple ultra salts and deal with myself,
Oh yeah. And
I don't think there's like a free ride, like how you say there's no free lunch in nature. I don't think that, like, I don't know. But I could see obviously for dehydration in extreme sports, or, in the elderly, they need to have the IVs because you can't get fluids on them. And obviously we're taking care of a cancer patient right now who we need to make sure he stays hydrated. I get that, but I tried it once when I was a little hungover, and I was like still hungover. And I was literally like, what the F did I just pay for?
Yeah, you were still hungover and you were a little lighter in the wallet.
Yeah, for sure.
Brother, who's going through chemo right now, stage 3 colorectal, and man, he's going through it, and he's doing a little better now. But a few weeks ago, he couldn't swallow anymore. He couldn't drink any water. He said he would drink if he drank more than 2 ounces of water, he would just throw it right back up. He couldn't get anything down. He couldn't even swallow his pill chemos. They ended up putting a port in him to pour it in there. And his neuropathy from the chemo was the chemo was causing neuropathy. It was getting worse and worse. And he wasn't eating. And the more he wasn't eating and the more he wasn't drinking, the more dehydrated. I said, Frankie, you got to call your doctor, man. You got to get your doctor on the phone, tell him. And it was the weekend. It was like one of those long weekends. It was a few weekends ago. And he was like, I can't get anybody on the phone. I'm the nurse practitioner. So he finally gets the nurse practitioner on the phone. And that guy says, okay, go to the emergency room and you can get we'll get an IV set up. He goes to the emergency room. And of course, he's put in line behind, people with, hatchet wounds and gunshot wounds and people coming in car accidents and everything else. So after like 2 or 3 hours, the guy can barely sit up anymore. He's like writhing in pain. He's completely done.
Oh my God.
He tells his wife, he goes, listen, go walk up there and ask him how much longer before they're going to see me. And the nurse said, now this is after like 3 hours. Nurse goes, probably another 5-6 hours before we before we get to you, guy who's dying of dehydration. Literally. So I called my brother and said, look, they got these things for alcoholics and people on drugs. Go find one. His wife looked up and they went and they pumped him up. He immediately started feeling better because they put much as they could put in him, a lot of salt, a lot of electrolytes, a lot of the whole thing. Perfect. Good. He's feeling better, right? He goes back the next day. I said, go get another. He goes back the next day. He gets another. He's feeling much better. Now he's able to get a little more water down his throat. So the neuropathy is loosening, just letting up a little bit. He was able to finally eat something for the first time in like a week. Of course, the doctors don't give a fuck about all the stuff, right? You're going through it. You know what I'm talking about. The doctors are over there living their lives, and I get it, right? The doctors can't get that involved because they would go nuts. I get it. So he's feeling better. He goes to the doctor one day later, and doctor's checking him out and doing the whole thing. And he goes, you doing well? He goes, yeah, man, I was doing really badly, but I ended up going to one of these places. The doctor flipped out. You went to one of those places. You should, that's not medical. That's and my brother goes, yeah, but they gave me,
get out of here.
They gave me an IV. They gave me some salt and water, and immediately I was feeling better. So you know what the doctor did? After he damned that place for doing something for helping my brother, then he went on to go, oh yeah, we can do that here. We can set, oh great. Why in the fuck didn't you set it up before? Is my question. Why did my brother have to go through all this shit, be in pain for all this time, not eat, dehydrating? No one's giving a fuck. Everybody's on vacation, sending him to an emergency room where he gets put behind gunshot wounds. What are we doing? What are we doing? Right? He does it.
I'm so irritated with the medical establishment right now.
Oh, I can imagine. I hate to complain to you because I know you're going through
I'm sorry to hear that, anybody's out there suffering and that the medical establishment's not stepping up, and we're in a bad place in this country, folks. You need to have somebody advocate for you. You need to have somebody with you. You need to have somebody advocating for you. You need to have somebody who's on speed dial. If it's not Vinnie, you better find yourself a Vinnie who can come up with some other solutions and help you brainstorm, because if you're not bleeding out right at that moment or having a stroke right at that moment, you're going to have to think of some other things that you can do, because you might not be able to get help from the regular places, or you might get amazing help from the regular places. We don't know.
Yeah,
we don't know how it's going to work out.
It's really a crapshoot. It's community by community. But Anna, look, I mean, I'm healthy right now. Feel good, right? All I do all day long is think about all of the pain in the world. There's people starving in the world. I'm that guy. It's like I walk around going, I'm too goddamn lucky. Knock on wood. I'm too lucky. I'm healthy. I got my health. I'm going to go play on the mountain in a couple of days. All of a sudden, everything's good, right? I'm fine. But all I do is think about, I see what my brother's going through. I know what your relative's going through. I have other friends. I got people during COVID. I was living that with these people, trying to help people out. There are people out there hurting. There are people with A1Cs that's off the chart. There's people that are 300, 400, 500 pounds overweight and they're not healthy. They don't feel good. They're getting ankles chopped off and everything else. I can't live in that world without caring. I know that sounds like I'm being a fucking douchebag, but if that makes me a douchebag, I'm the world's biggest douchebag. Thank you very much. I'm here all week. But that's just how it goes.
Yeah. I found out my little niece at 24 is diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And she didn't even know. They didn't even know. They just came up on the blood work kind of thing. But here's the thing. I'm glad because now she knows. And she's not going to get super duper sick first and then be at her wit's end. They found it early. Yeah. They found it when they found it. You know what I mean? So hopefully she doesn't suffer. And because she's my little niece, we're going to talk about stuff and talk about what this means and how to help her manage it. And type 1 diabetes is not the reversible kind. Your pancreas is not going to kick back in all of a sudden. You have to manage this disease. But the concept is still the same of managing your sugars and managing your insulin resistance in a way where you don't want to take in so much sugars that you're still damaging yourself, and eventually the disease catches up with you and you have to lob off a foot or whatever, or you lose your sight, or so it's very serious, of course, but I'm glad that she knows now. And I'm always glad when people find out at a younger age. It sucks no matter when you get a diagnosis. It always sucks, but in a way, sometimes it takes us getting a diagnosis to go, okay, well, now we're going to reshape how I thought my life around food was going to look, and you have to do it because it's a medical necessity. And I even said right before I was diagnosed with celiac, I remember I was eating a sleeve of JoJo's, which is the Trader Joe's Oreo cookie.
I was about to say, you sound like Coddington the first time he told me what a devil dog was. It was like, did you just make it?
Yeah. No. It's JoJo's, Trader Joe's Oreos. And I'm eating a sleeve of them. And by the way, I'm not even that huge of a sweets eater. When I say eating a sleeve, I probably had 2 or 3. And I'm sitting here going, and I said out loud to Lauren, my husband, it would take like a diagnosis for me to stop eating cookies. I love these cookies. Yeah. I mean, a doctor would have to say, you have to stop eating cookies. And I remember that moment in my brain, 27 years old, and thinking to myself, and then the universe is like, okay, guess what? We're going to have a doctor tell you have to stop eating cookies. And best thing that ever happened to me.
I had a girlfriend. She, Lynn Ganser, she was at WDS, she's NBC affiliate news anchor in the 6 and 10 o'clock news down in Louisiana. And I knew exactly when she was coming home because I would see her sign off at 10:30, and between her, the station and her house was about 15 minutes. She would immediately get in her car. And she was the type, every night when she got home, she wanted to have a drink. She would have one drink. And that was back in the time I still didn't drink back then, because remember, I didn't start drinking until I was 36. I would make her exactly what she wanted: vodka, soda, and lime. Just exactly 1 shot of vodka, X amount of soda, and fresh lime in it. And she would enjoy that every night. She would have one. And, because it was a stressful job, and that was her thing. And somehow she would come home, and she would get home just in time. The Johnny Carson monologue would be over, but then the first guest would be coming on, and we would watch that together and have a laugh and the whole thing. Man, I'm really dating myself, Johnny Carson. But it was really good. That was right around the time when he would have the comedian guests come out, and we would see all these. The first time I ever saw Kevin Meaney was, those shows, right? And there was all these great comedians that would come out. And I remember one night I felt like having something sweet. And I was a guy who was always, eat a lot of protein. And she had some Oreos. And I said, man, I haven't had Oreos and milk since I was, and by the way, this is after I lost the football weight that I talked about and the whole thing. I was cycling everywhere. I would cycle to my clients up and down St. Charles Avenue, complete health nut. But one night, it must have been like a Friday night, and, I didn't drink. I went, man, I feel like doing a little something. What you got? Oh, you got some Oreos? And you mentioned the sleeve. So I took the demure amount of Oreos, right? I took like about that many out of the sleeve. And
that's about 4. That's 4 Oreos right there.
Yeah, 4 or 5. I don't know. It's a few.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking of the story right now because it's going to matter here in a second, right? And I poured some milk because I remember when I was a kid, my grandmother would give us a couple of Oreos or a chocolate chip cookie or something, but usually it was homemade chocolate chip cookie and some milk. And boy, I got transported right back to childhood. And we're watching whichever comedian, and I'm dipping these Oreos and I'm slopping them in my mouth, and I eat the low portion of them. And I couldn't wait for the comedian to be done, because when he was done, they would go to commercial and Johnny would call him over to the couch, right? I went back, and I didn't want Lynn to think I was some kind of slob. I just grabbed another little chunk of them, another 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Now I came back and I made myself an excuse. I said, yeah, I wasn't done the milk. There's still a lot of milk in this cup, right? I'm like making up shit now.
She saw through it.
She's Jewish. They want you to eat everything, right? Jews love, a Jewish woman loves when you're eating.
Nancy Wolfson has fed me more than my fair share of sweets.
Oh, I know. Nancy Wolfson's the worst. That's why.
She's a maniac. She is a maniac.
I bring back some more cookies, and she even makes a little comment. She goes, I'm so glad to see you doing something besides just being not all the time.
It's
right?
kind of a relief.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
She was like, finally, you seem human to me. It almost humanized. It gave. I felt so good about myself in that moment. It's like, wow, my girlfriend's having a drink. I don't drink. I'm doing some Oreos here. You know, I'm being really bad, and she finds that cool. I got through with those. Now I'm sitting there going, oh, fuck. Now I got the itch. I want some more. And there is some more. I literally ate the whole sleeve. Now, Lynn, you know, the package came with, I don't know, 2 or 3 sleeves. You know how it wasn't just one sleeve in the package. It was like Oreos came, it was like a flat. And there was
it's like a deck. Yeah, it's a deck of Oreos.
Yeah. And I went, okay, I ate that sleeve. And I made myself stop right there. I went and I swished my teeth out. I brushed my teeth and fuck it. It's like 11 o'clock. And I just finished these Oreos. And I felt ashamed. I felt embarrassed. I had a stomach ache. Now my stomach is bloated. I'm thinking of all of this stuff that I hadn't felt in such a long time, right? I just hadn't felt this in a long time. That's when I knew how sweets were addictive, because all I wanted was a little handful. And then I had another little handful. And the only reason I stopped is because I got to the end of that sleeve. But folks, I'm here to tell you, I'm a sugar addict. And if my girlfriend wouldn't have been right there, well, if she wouldn't have been there, I wouldn't have had Oreos, because I just wouldn't buy them, right? They were at her house. I would have eaten a second sleeve. I would have eaten another whole sleeve. Someone had to be there to I knew she was watching. Like, I felt like she didn't say she was watching me, but she made a comment on the second fistful. Does that make sense? That's the only thing that made me swish my mouth out and then get the chocolate out of my teeth and go floss, brush, and end it, because I wanted more. Even though I had a stomach ache, even though I was feeling high from it, that sugar high you get, I was feeling all of it. I had to force myself. And that was one of the first times I realized the power of sugar, just the sheer power of it. Does that make sense?
I'm going to say something that might be unpopular. Cookies are trash. Cookies are trash. Cookies are trash. You cannot eat enough cookies where you feel good. You always want to eat more cookies, but you also can't have one cookie. Cookies are trash.
There you have it.
Cookies. Cookies are trash is the name of this episode. Okay. Yeah. Question for you. Do you want to talk about, well, we were talking about medical establishment stuff. Somebody asked that we go over when people get their cholesterol as part of their CBC, and let's say they get a high LDL or a high combined number, let's talk about what they should then ask their doctor for clarity. To get further testing. I will be more than happy to go into that. For the noobs. You know, I'd be more than happy to go into that. But first, I have to tell you guys about Villa Capelli olive oil. Villa Capelli, as you know, I've rubbed it all over my body, even my genitals one time. We did that on the air. Not that that's gross or anything, but Villa Capelli is also good when you eat it, when you put it in your mouth, when you drink it. The way we started doing this show for all the newbies was Anna and I would sit in her studio over in North Hollywood. In the garage. And I would yell into a mic for 3 hours. We would do all 3 shows on a Sunday, back to back to back. The problem with that is by the 3rd show of yelling, I would get hoarse. And I knew that I had to go record my book that was coming up. And I would have to just sit there and read for hours in a booth. And I would strain my voice because I don't like the way my voice sounds. So I'm always trying to really project and do all the stuff. That was before you had the diaphragmatic and throat tonsil vocal cords pressure that you have. I mean, strength that you have now. It takes a lot of practice. It really does. Yeah. And I was out of shape, and I would drink Villa Capelli just to keep my vocal cords, my throat lubed up. Yeah, and you got to lube them up. I'm in love with the stuff because, I would talk about, I was like, oh, this thing, it's got that peppery finish like you always get when you're over in Italy, right? Because I've always said when you're in Italy, the olive oil tastes much better than here. And here I was getting the same olive oil that I get when I travel. And that's when Anna goes, oh, yeah, this stuff is from Italy. And we started talking about it. Next thing you know, Paul Capelli gave us a call and said, hey, you guys are selling me out in the United States. How about you make this a constant thing? So then we started getting paid to talk about Villa Capelli. And for some stupid reason, they still pay us. Don't know why.
But since they pay us, I feel compelled to talk about them. Look, I buy 2 and 3-liter tins at a time.
Yeah, that's what you should
Stuff
do.
doesn't go bad. You keep it in a cool, dry place. It stays good, right? And it comes in a big tin, so it's in a dark place to begin with. We just keep it away from heat. Stays good forever. Villa Capelli, folks. You want to save a ton of money? Get Villa Capelli. Put in promo code Vinnie, VINNIE. You'll get 10% off. If after the 10% discount, you're north of $125 total, you'll also get free shipping. That means a lot. So go check it out, Villa Capelli. Anna uses Villa Capelli in some of her sauces. I actually use that olive oil. We mix it with my D3 over at purevitaminclub.com. That's how much I believe in the product. We only put the best stuff in our vitamins, and we use Villa Capelli along with our D3 because you have to mix D with an oil. And I didn't want to mix it with the seed oil, even though that amount of seed oil probably wouldn't hurt anyone. It matters to me. That's why we do. Villa Capelli, go check it out. Promo
Best
code
olive oil on the planet.
No wimping.
VINNIE.
Yeah. Anna, go on.
When people write me and spell your name with a Y, I feel like they're punking.
I know. I think so too. But I think sometimes if they're the machines, if they're talking it into a thing, the autocorrect goes to Y sometimes.
That's right. When I do text to speech to text Lauren, it spells it LAUREN.
Yeah. Yeah. It always goes to the easiest version of whatever. So Anna,
okay.
Let's
say somebody's new, they're going to go get their CBC, their complete blood count with a metabolic panel, including their cholesterol, their triglycerides, their the lipid panel, the A1Cs, the fasting blood sugar, all the good stuff. Hopefully they get their liver numbers, their kidney numbers, white blood cells, red blood, all the things, right? So when they get the cholesterol back, if the LDL goes up and the doctor says something, what's the clarifying question that they should ask to get another round of testing?
Okay. Generally, that doctor, if that doctor is just saying you need to be on a statin based on the regular test, that doctor is ignorant to the facts of what's actually going on in the real world. But there are a lot of doctors out there who do know what's going on. So even if that doctor is able to order the right tests for you, they won't know how to read them, right?
Because that's true.
So it would be like saying, hey, doc, I want all my tests to come back and I want it to be in hieroglyphics. And if that doctor has never studied hieroglyphics, he couldn't read it all looks like hieroglyphics.
It's a cat. It's a cat.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know what it is, right? So
that's interesting because the advanced lipid panel, I'm sure LabCorp has one, but I've always done it through Quest, and Quest and LabCorp seem to own labs across the country. Like they are the two market leaders. Yeah,
they're the two biggest.
So you'd think more doctors would be able to read the tests that are available at the market leading labs.
Doctors don't look. Doctors are instructed, and doctors have told me this. This is how I have this information. They're told when you see a cholesterol number of a certain number, you just automatically tell that person they must be on a statin. Boom. Put them on a drug for a problem they probably don't have. That's what these doctors are doing. So you have to find a doctor who is educated in this area. So I'm going to name, folks, get your pen and paper out right now. I'm giving you a second to get out pen and paper. Or if you're listening to this, go back to 33 minutes and then start listening, and then you'll hear it again. Do not write to me on Twitter and say, hey, what was that doctor's name again? Because I will write back, fuck you. That's what I'm going to write back. You don't want me to write back, fuck you. I'm telling you right now, go back to 33 and a half minutes and you're going to get the information. There are several doctors out there that you can contact. Some of them work nationwide. Some of them only work in their state and a few other states. I will mention a few of them here that you can try to contact that will then order the test for you. You could go to Quest or whichever one you go to, get the test done that they want, and then they can look at your full panel. Here you go. Dr. Tro, T-R-O, Kalasian. Now I'm going to spell Kalasian. K-A-L-A.
drtro.com.
Yeah, go to drtro.com. Let them know.
Let me double check.
Let them know Vinnie sent you. That might move you up the list a bit. So Dr. Tro is one of them. Dr. Tro, I'm mentioning him first for one reason and one reason only.
It's spell out the word doctor, DOCTORTRO.com. He's in there.
Yeah. Go to him,
Yep.
tell him Vinny sent you. Dr. Tro works, I think, in almost all of the states in the country, at least 45 of the 50 states. Okay. That's why I'm mentioning him first. The next doctor that works in a lot of the states is Dr. Ovadia. So you go look up Dr. Ovadia.
Philip Ovadia, I think is his first name.
Philip Ovadia, Ovadia. Go find him online and see if you can find his .com or whatever.
Yeah.
Philip does not work in as many states, but he works in a lot of states. And you could go to him. I'm told, even though doctors cannot give referral fees or anything, so I don't make a dime off of this.
No. There's no.
I'm told that if you mention my name, you may, not you definitely will. This is not an ad for him. You may get a discount. With Tro, if you mention my name, you might move up the ladder from the 6-month wait to the 4-month wait, but I can't guarantee you any of this.
OvadiaHeartHealth.com is Philip Ovadia's site. OvadiaHeartHealth.com.
OVADIA hearthealth.com.
Correct.
The third one, if you're in California, I think he only works in California, but I think maybe also for, I want to say Nevada and Arizona, but I could be wrong. Brett
Linsky's? Oh.
Brett Shear. Linsky's works with Tro. But by the way, look.
But he has his own practice.
Okay.
Linsky's has San Diego metabolichealth.com.
Okay, hang
Brian
on.
Linsky's.
All right, yeah. So wait, we're Anna, we're getting over our skis a bit. We're talking about Brett Shear first. So Brett Shear is BRETTSCHER. Brett Shear. He's in Southern California, but he can do all of California. He's licensed in California, maybe Nevada, and maybe contact him. Maybe he does your state. I know he does a few states, but not as many as the rest. And he's another one that can order it up and give it a look. He's another cardiologist, just like Ovadia. Brian Linsky's the next one on the list. Do you have a site there, Anna?
Yeah. Do you want Brett Shear's site?
Yeah, give me Brett Shear's first.
Lowcarbcardiologist.com.
Lowcarbcardiologist.com. Dr. Brett Shear. Again, with all of these.
Brian Linsky's is lovely, and his is San Diego metabolichealth.com.
Yeah, and I think he works in several states too, and I think he also does something with Tro. So
yeah, they have a group together, but they have their own separate practices, but they also work together. They're all great. All these guys are great.
Any of these guys can read it and tell you what's going on. You're going to get the same kind of information from each of them. There's a fee for this, but folks, the information you're going to get from these guys for whatever they charge, you can't, knowledge is power. You can't get that anywhere else. Knowledge is power.
I was also going to suggest going to functionalmedicine.org, and you could find somebody near you if you want to see somebody in person, and you can always call their office and say, hey, do you work with advanced lipid panels? Can you read these tests? Can you help me out? So you can do that too. So there's tons of resources. And you're right, there probably will be a fee, and it probably won't be covered by insurance, but hopefully the lab work will be when they order the lab work. If your regular doctor's open to having the conversation, that's great. I had an OBGYN who recently retired, but the last 5 years of her practice, she went back for her functional medicine certification because she was tired of women going through it and not being able to help her patients. And so she was always open to the conversation. So we talked about everything and I loved it, but it is very doctor specific, and some doctors do not want to be bothered and they think you should just go right on the statin and never ask a question. So let me just real quick for the new people, tell a quick story about when I went NSNG, my LDL went up. And so we did the advanced lipid panel, and the small fluffy, the medium particle, and the large fluffy, the medium particle, and the small particle. The small particle is the one that's the concerning one. And oftentimes people do the advanced lipid panel and they find out they have a lot of large fluffy and then very few small, and they're fine. I was not that way. Mine came back, the small is too high. Okay, so what do we do now? A couple of things. And by the way, this is me talking to my functional medicine doctor, my endocrinologist, and we're having these conversations. And they both agreed, go get your CAC calcium score test. So I paid $100 out of pocket. This is 2017. Got the scan to see if you have this elevated cholesterol, does that mean that you have buildup that's dangerous in your arteries? No, I had zero buildup in 2017. And then I tested again 6 months ago, 0 was the score. Still, I have other blood markers that come back high, the CRP and I can't ever remember it, Vinny, the lipo.
It could be apo. It could
B.
be no. It could be either be apo little a or apo little b, depending on if
apo
it's
little b.
Yeah.
It's apo little b, and that is a marker for something not good. And I have that, and that's also a genetic marker too. So what we've decided to do is ultrasound once a year. Now that's a choice that I make. You might not want to do that. That's the choice that I make. But the important thing is the reason I want to tell the story. And by the way, there's no buildup of anything. I just have these high markers. We don't know why. We will keep looking and testing. And that's just what it is. Ultimately, my LDL has now gone down. It took a little while for it to stabilize. That's my journey. That might not be your journey. Please consult with your doctor. But I just want to tell that story because people don't even know to ask sometimes. And right. I want you guys to feel like you can ask. And if they blow you off, if they explain you, if they anything less than like, hey, yeah, let's find out some answers, then maybe that's not the right doctor. I don't know.
And look, folks, that goes on all the time. People, it took me years to get my parents. My parents always thought, oh, doctors, they give you something, it's a fait accompli. This is it. This is how it works. I'm not going anywhere else. This is what we're doing here, right? And it took me years to get them to understand that doctors are not God. They're fallible. They're humans, just like us. And, you know, especially after that thing my mom went through where they wanted to do 2 surgeries on her. And I said,
right,
the hell, you're not. It's not going to happen. And of course, I got a lot of flack from not just the doctor going, well, are you a doctor? But my brothers and sister-in-laws and everyone going, you're not a doctor and you're trying to play God here. It's like, no, I'm just telling you what I have a hunch. And after the conversation with that doctor, and I lied to him a bit, right? I told him I was better friends with Fred Mattson than I actually was. I mean, we've talked and he's been on the podcast and he operated on my shoulder. But I went on to go, oh, yeah, I just white lied. I went, oh, yeah, we go hiking together because Fred and I talked about going on a hike or doing a glacier thing together. So we talked about it. We just never got around to it. And I had the guy's cell number and I did send those x-rays over. As soon as I said, I'm sending this to the best of the best, the guy who every other shoulder guy looks up to in the country, all of a sudden, all the tunes changed. Well, we can take a look, see, we can do it. Folks, you got to advocate for yourself. I had to do a little white lie because I knew just looking at these x-rays, because I've been looking at shoulder x-rays my entire life because of my crappy shoulder from football. I looked at it and went, this doesn't make sense to me. And maybe I don't know what I'm looking at. So I sent it off to the master. But before I even got an answer from him, they did an about face. It's amazing what doctors will do if you make them do it. You have to stand up to them. You have to talk to them. They're not that special. Look at what happened with my brother. I was talking about it earlier. You know, they couldn't get him an IV fast enough. I told him to go to one of these fucking places where drunks and alcoholics and druggies go to. He went there, and then all of a sudden, the doctors came.
Other people go there besides drunks and alcoholics and druggies.
Why would anyone go there unless you got a problem? Well, who goes there? Tell me, Anna.
Regular people go there.
For what reason? For what reason?
I went and had one. Am I a drunk or a druggie or an alcoholic?
Were you hungover? I think Anna's got a problem. We're just finding out now. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not. But you understand what I'm saying? That those places, that's who frequents those places. Am I wrong?
No. Yes, you're wrong.
I'm wrong?
No, you're definitely wrong.
No, I'm not wrong. I don't know what I'm
No, you're definitely not. Yes, wrong.
You know what? I get to hear I'm wrong all day long, and I get on this podcast with you, and I get to hear I'm wrong all over again. Don't I have a great life?
All I'm saying is, for your brother, it made sense. By the way, you know this terrible show on the History Channel called, what is it called? The Food in America? Lauren, what's that food called? How we make food in America? History of food. It's all about the history of food manufacturing, and it's disturbing on every level. Just because you hear about like how they invented things like Miracle Whip or Kraft macaroni and cheese or whatever, or Coca-Cola or whatever, everything they cover, Dunkin' Donuts, Subway, like the wars between fast food restaurants and the shit they come up with. and how they mass market food. So it's disturbing on that level, but it's also just a terrible reenactment show. You know how they do the crime murders and they're reenacting and you're like, oh my God, it's so cheesy. Well, they're doing that with the invention of food, but it's not that exciting. So there's not that many ways that you can film somebody like thinking of a eureka moment of like, we should destabilize the Miracle Whip. And the, you know what I mean? So they have these actors who are just like they had the guy for Orville Redenbacher, like the little Orville Redenbacher lookalike, and he's staring. They have like 14 shots of him just staring at a little corn kernel because he's trying to figure out how to make that popcorn. So anyway, so they did Gatorade. I felt like the biggest dummy on the planet that I had no idea Gatorade was invented for the Florida Gators.
You had, oh, come on.
I didn't know.
Yeah, it was, there were two things like Florida, a guy invented, Gatorade. And for LSU, a guy at LSU invented something called Quick Kick, which was a different kind of Gatorade. It was same thing. So basically what it was glucose and electrolytes. And I've always told this to people, if it used to be called Stokely's Gatorade. It was made by the Stokely's Gatorade. That's what it was called. And it came in a glass bottle. And right after football practice, we would go right over to Bellina's and get a 32-ounce. And I mean, we were so parched down. I told you what it was like. We would just guzzle that whole thing, just one shoot right down, 32 ounces of ice cold Stokely's Gatorade. And it was just what the doctor ordered. But it didn't taste like Gatorade of today. You can actually taste the salt. It was like a salty kind of briny with a little sugar on the back end.
Apparently it tasted like rocket fuel the first time he made it because all of the players shot it and then threw up because it tasted terrible and it hit their stomach wrong. And so they added the glucose later because they had to cover the taste of whatever electrolyte shit they were putting in there apparently tasted bad or something. I don't know. It was very sad. But I found it fascinating. And then, of course, the whole war over, like, who owns the name Gatorade? Does Florida State own it or University of Florida? I can't remember. Sorry, Florida people. I don't know your universities. But wherever the Gators are they Florida State or the University of Florida?
No, it's University of Florida.
University of Florida. Okay. Seminoles, that's right. So I found it very fascinating, and I was like, how did I just not know that? But then I was like, Gatorade is still just a multi-billion-dollar industry, and then I'm here with a family thing, and we have numerous sick people in the family right now, and people have to drink Gatorade or Pedialyte and I'm just shocked that there's not more electrolyte alternatives yet that aren't these disgusting processed things. But I don't know. I guess we'll get there one day.
Look, you know what I do all day long? I have my 40-ounce bottle right here.
Mm-hmm.
What I do is I gas the water with my soda stream, and then I put ounces. I put 3 because when you gas the water, then all of the electrolytes
fizzy natural Gatorade.
Right, and I put 3 of my ultra salts in there for 40 ounces, and all summer long, that's all I drink. That's what's in there now. That's my third one. I did 90 minutes of aerobics today. I did a lot of work here. I had to shoot all the videos and everything. Then I did another hour in the gym, pumping iron. All of that takes something out of you, right? And in between that, I'm always doing yard work. I never stop moving, Anna, from the time I wake up until the time I go to bed. If I'm not doing something around the house, I'm working out or I'm working, and I just keep ultra salt going all day, right? And look, I could put it in regular water, but I have to move it around and swish it up every time. But when you gas the water, the bubbles hold the electrolytes.
It's effervescent seawater.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
By the way, Big Al says hello.
Tell
George
Big Al
and Justin
says hi.
say hello.
Are you guys in New York? Or are you?
Yeah, we're in New York. We're in the Hamptons right now. So we are having a family visit. It's Lauren's mom's 80th tomorrow. I'm going to make my cheesecake tart for her from Eat Happy. And we're going to get some nice food. And we have all sorts of, listen, you guys, I've made my lime cilantro chicken marinade, steaks covered in the barbecue dust. That was one night of dinner. I did burgers last night, beef burgers with the barbecue dust. And then I did the fancy turkey burgers that are at my site. And also an Eat Happy. And everybody raved. It's great. Everybody's happy. We're going to make the chicken again, but I'm going to use the dill and do a dill lemon Dijon thing with chicken. And we'll probably do steaks again. And we're going to do a seafood night one night and figure that out. So I am, as I expected to be, in charge of the cooking of the menu planning, the cooking, the grocery shopping, the thing. So that's my job that I'm doing. And I got to tell you guys, I feel like I now need to write a cookbook of how to cook for 15 people every night of the week because it's insane. And also, this one has this food allergy, that one has cancer, this one has that thing, this one has this food allergy, and this one has can't eat shellfish, or you know what I mean? Like this one has gout, this one has that. I'm telling you, it's like getting this menu dialed in. And I'm happy to do it. And I'm glad that I have the skills to be able to do it. But I'm like, oh, okay. Extensive cooking for extensive people who some of them eat homemade stuff and some of them don't, you know?
And I'm down to, if I don't go to a steak restaurant, I don't go out to eat anymore since we do better steaks at home.
I was gonna say, I don't even go to a steak restaurant anymore.
Unless we go to another couple invites us out, we don't go out anymore. And I'm going to tell you why. Yeah. Last night, Serena goes to the Solid Core, right? And she likes to go there 3, 4, 5 days a week.
I'm going to try to go to Solid Core while I'm here in the Hamptons because they have one here.
Oh, good. Yeah, no, Serena loves doing it. And she, she's the oldest one, all these young girls that run it and everything. And they were having taco night at this place, this taqueria, right next to the thing. And Serena goes, I really want you to come to meet.
That's what I should do.
All the girls.
That's what I should do is taco night.
Do taco night. You got your taco powder, right?
I brought, I used all the barbecue dust yesterday on the burgers, but yes, thank you. Sorry to interrupt. Thank you for giving me that idea.
I keep forgetting every day. See, I'm trying to get out of town tomorrow. I'm not even packed yet. I keep forgetting to order.
You're going to get a packet. You're going to get a package in the mail.
Yeah, but I'm already gone when it comes. So I'm not going to be able to bring it on my trip. I meant to order it.
Cotty Cod's going to make you go to Gelson's or Pavilions. He texted me today. Where's your sauce? I was like, Gelson's or Pavilions, please go.
Oh, good.
We need the scan data.
We'll get it. Is it in Santa Monica?
Great.
Can we grab it there?
Yeah. Right. Pavilion, Santa Monica, or Gelson, Santa Monica.
Yeah, I'm going to put, because I need some, because we're doing steaks the whole time. I'm bringing I got my stove, my Coleman stove. I'm bringing everything. I'm bringing my skillet. We're going to be making it in the mountains, baby. Those bears are going to be smelling that barbecue dust. Oh yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, I only have sauces at Pavilions and Gelson, so you're going to have to poach your eggs in the sauces on the mountain.
Nah, I'm going to use the sauces, but I need. You know what? I'm going to bring the taco because I'm going to probably do taco night up there. We're going to be eating a lot of ground beef. At any rate, so I go out last night, 5:30, Serena goes, come on, the girls, I want you to meet the girls and all things. Okay. So I go to the taqueria and Serena, I wasn't going to order anything. I was just going to go and sit and have a drink or something, whatever. But Serena was going to bring all these vitamins for the head girl that teaches all the classes, all of my vitamins, right? And she took them out and she left them in a bag on the counter. And we get there and she says to the girl, oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot it at home. This gave me an opportunity not to have to be around people too. I said, oh, honey, I will go get it. Let me just run home. We live right around the corner. So I leave. I come home, I get the vitamins. We gave it a fish oil. We gave her everything, the multi. We gave it a vitamin B12 and the D3 and the whole thing, the C, the liposomal C, the ultrasalt. The whole thing is there. It's in a nice little bag. So I show up. I saunter back in about 20 minutes later. And Serena goes, oh, I ordered some stuff for you, like a big taco bowl. And she knows not to, so it's just that,
don't put the tortilla, don't put the chips.
Right. It's a bowl.
Don't do it on rice. Do it on lettuce. Yeah.
There's a little beef. There's a little shredded. I don't know if it's pork or whatever, but it's there. And there's one with shrimp and there's one with chicken, 3 little bowls. And, oh, this is great. But as I'm eating them, and boy, they were delicious. I went, oh, these things are full of, I can taste the sugar. The seed oils. I know the seed oils are in there and the whole thing, but I know this cost me a lot of money. And I don't want to be that guy. So I went, oh, okay, this is my treat. I'm going to have this treat. I'm going to enjoy this.
Exactly. Just
do it. Anna, I woke up 2:00 in the morning to take a leak. I had, the kind of headache you get if you have too many drinks. It was like I was hungover. I was a little disoriented. I had a headache. I had the whole thing. I'm taking a leak and I'm like, oh my God, I think I need to take Advil. I took Advil before I got back in bed because I had a pounding headache going on. And I knew I had to get up this morning and I had a full day of videos and everything in this podcast and everything else I had to do. I can't nurse this headache. I had a food hangover and I didn't eat that much. I'm so far removed from that kind of shit.
And you didn't even have rice or corn. It was just the marinade that they were putting on the sauces. They were putting on
and the sauce and everything that was mixed in the thing. It's like when I was eating it, I went, "Oh, here we go."
That's a shame.
Here we go. It was enough to knock my ass. As we used to in sports, it knocked my dick in the dirt. It really did.
Vinny, I had the same experience in Chicago because we basically didn't eat anything till dinner both nights. And the first night I was like, let's go to Lou Malnati's because they have the sausage crust pizza. And then I can just have that and a salad and that'll be great. And of course I was talking it up to Skeeter. You're going to love this pizza. It's Chicago deep dish. You can have some of mine. I do the kind where they put the sausage crust up the side and then put the stuff in it and it's no sugar. And they put that salad down. I swear to God, this dressing was like a teaspoon of vinegar, whatever trash seed oil, and then 5 cups of sugar.
Ugh.
Was the dressing on the salad.
Ugh.
It was crack, revolting salad. And we hadn't eaten in 14 hours and we had been working all day setting up the trade show booth. And I was like, I'm so hungry. So of course I ate some of the salad. And then the sausage crust pizza comes, it's anemic. By the way, Bob Zimmer has a recipe in both groups for his version of the Lou Malnati sausage crust pizza. Just go download it and make it, you guys. If you want pizza night, make that. I also have 4 different pizza crust recipes, so you're not left in a lurch. But if you're going to a restaurant, it just seemed like this makes sense that Lou Malnati's does this. And Lou Malnati's like this Chicago institution. And I swear to God, it tasted like they had heated up something frozen. It was disgusting. And of course I ate, but maybe it's like a pizza like this. I probably ate like a third of it just to get full and not think about it. Vinny, and no alcohol.
Right.
None.
Yeah, no alcohol. Yeah.
Woke up the next morning. My eyes were swollen shut.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. When
I literally was like, oh my God, my face is so puffy. And I'm sure some of it's like traveling, some of it's being tired, but some of it's the sugar and just retaining. And that's when I was like, oh, you better start pounding water and hope that like your body's like, we can release this. Yeah. And I was like so pissed I didn't bring any ultra salt with me to like ironically take more salt so that my body will release the salt, because I got to go and like do this trade show and talk to people in it. And I was like, hi, like, it was so infuriating. And yet you got to eat. So what are you going to do? You know what I mean?
It's ridiculous. What are you going to do? The first thing we did this morning, Serena and I had to be at the gym in town to shoot because as folks, I'm doing more stuff on my YouTube channel. You really should go check out what's going on there. And I'm shooting videos at the gym and all this kind of stuff and showing.
Great. I love it.
And all this stuff. So I was scheduled to be at that gym at 7:30 this morning, which means I had to wake up at around 6. And, I came down, the headache was now gone, but I was still, I felt weird. I ate a couple of hard-boiled eggs. I had some water and the whole thing. We go to the gym and I looked in the mirror because the first thing I was doing was squats, showing people how to do squats. I looked in the mirror and I had like this like double puff under my eyes. And it looks like I was in a boxing match last night. Right?
That's what it looked like.
Yeah.
It looked like, I don't know. It was like my eyes were swollen shut, but then they were like puffy on the top and puffy on the bottom. Yeah. And I'm somebody who has pretty big eyes. So I was like, I can't see my eyes. Like, what's happening? And then I knew exactly. And then the next night we had something at Art Smith. But you remember Art Smith, who was Oprah's chef?
I do not. I'm sorry.
And Skeeter wanted to go because he loves Art Smith. So he had the cookbook. So we go to Art Smith's place on Navy Pier. And again, it's the same thing. I was like, he got the chicken wings and they were covered in like gooey honey glaze. Got some shrimp. They were okay, but everything was just like, I was like, I can't. It's too much. It's too much. Why does every restaurant have to have everything covered in sugar?
Because that's what people want. If you want people to come back, look, I tell Serena, I don't mind.
That's ridiculous.
As we know, I don't have friends. I have Joey Schott, and he lives 90 minutes away. And I kind of have Dave, the kayaker, and I never see Dave. So I don't really have friends to go out with, which is perfect for me. There's one couple down the street we go to dinner with, and there's also, a couple of Serena friends, but they know if they invite us out, it needs to be a steakhouse or a seafood restaurant. And then I have to be picky when I go there. You got to be super picky.
Sure.
Look, I get it. I'm super spoiled. I am super spoiled because I have the most beautiful woman in the world who's an awesome cook, right? Her name is Anna Vocino. No, I have someone who can make restaurant quality food every night, and we have a deal. She can go in there and whip stuff around the kitchen. Don't clean a pot, a pan. Don't fucking clean anything. You make it. I'll come in after like a bust. I'll bust the whole kitchen. I'll do the whole thing. As a matter of fact, that's where I do my thinking at night. After dinner, I don't clean up right away. I might be watching a movie or something until 10:30. And then I'll go up there for an hour. Serena's already in bed. I'll go up there and just bust the whole kitchen. It will look like that kitchen had never been used when I leave there. That's the deal we have. As you know, Anna, people who like to cook really enjoy cooking. It's a Zen thing. You're like that. But cleaning up, for them is not Zen. I don't mind cleaning up. I like it.
I don't mind cleaning. I clean as I go along, and then Lauren kind of just gets the rest. But he also helps cook. He sous chefs me all the time. So I'll
do some sous chefing. I could do some chopping and that kind of thing. But if I'm around and I'm not doing this, then I'll go sous chef.
So next week, I'm going to keep this note, this question from Eric Wolf that he wrote me yesterday, that let's go through different kind of restaurant menus and talk about what to order to stay NSNG, because people are going out. It's summertime. They're having fun. They're seeing their friends, and we need to help them with the menu so that they're not like perplexed. By the way, pro tip, try to look at the menu before you go to the place. What's happening? Are you looking for music?
Yeah.
That was called dead air, Vinny. That's dead air.
I know.
Can I say something real quick before we wrap up?
Yeah.
If you are in Southern California, please go to Gelson's or Pavilions and buy your sauce there. It's a better price than you can get it on the website, and it will really help us tremendously, because it takes about a year to get on the shelves at these places, and they will take you off the shelf very quickly if you're not selling. So I'm just making a plea for folks want to be able to buy the sauces in store. We're launching into a bunch more stores and a bunch more markets. So I hope that you guys will go. I understand that pasta sauce is not necessarily people's priority. They're not thinking about that. But if you're going to go grocery shopping, please pick up a jar of the sauce. I would really appreciate it.
Folks, go check out everything Anna Vocino has, eathappykitchen.com. You want to get everything. And by the way, get the cookbooks. I was just doing a consult with someone earlier today. Get the cookbook, because if you do such, if you get those cookbooks, you'll be 90% down the road on what to do all the time. So we use them around here. You're going to love them. It's called Eat Happy and Eat Happy Too. Go check out everything Anna's doing. For me, if you want to keep this podcast free and up and running, before you go to Amazon, go to VinnieTortorich.com, click through the banner. It puts coal on the fire, gets my train down the track. Also, we have the NSNG ebook over at VinnieTortorich.com. Stay tuned, especially to my Instagram and my Twitter, because we will be announcing we're doing a special t-shirt. We're bringing a t-shirt back. Leona is working on it. My girlfriend Lois, she's working on the new design. Debbie's out there getting prices. Now, look, whenever we do these t-shirts, they're not a big money maker for me. Whenever we do hats and t-shirts and the whole thing, this is a morale builder. Look, we're not operating in a red on this. We actually come out right above break even when we sell this stuff, but it's a morale builder. People like it. We like to bring back the t-shirts every now and again. We have some other stuff we're going to bring back besides just doing hats all the time. So keep an eye out for that. We'll mention it in the Facebook group and everywhere else, so you guys will know about getting the t-shirts. So we're going to be doing that. So check out everything. Just keep going to VinnieTortorich.com and the Instagram and everywhere else. On behalf of Miss Anna Vocino, put life into living, and let's do it with none other than Miss Ella Fitzgerald.